Hi, this is Richard Kuhns, a former parasite sufferer. This is about highly contagious skin parasites. There are several highly contagious skin parasites, and once you are unfortunate enough to catch them, even your doctor won't know what to do. In fact, he'll take blood tests, biopsies, and find nothing. You can catch these skin parasites by trying on clothing at your local clothing store, sitting in a chair, or, as one person claims, from sitting across from an infected person. Generally, all that's required is that an infected person is in physical contact with an infected item for about 10 minutes. That item can be clothing, chairs, a seat on an airplane, bedding. The skin parasite's eggs are left in the chair, airplane seat, bedding, or clothing, and are hatched by the next person's body heat that uses the chair, clothing, or item. One lady became infected from a bird nest she removed from outside her window. She didn't think to wear gloves, and within hours she was itching relentlessly. It just so happened that a few days later she was to be a bridesmaid in a wedding. Unsuspectingly that she had contracted highly contagious skin parasites, she exchanged dresses with her sister, who was also a bridesmaid. Within minutes, her sister was also itching relentlessly. Before either had realized that they were dealing with skin parasites, 4 other family members became infected, including an elderly grandparent, simply from sitting in an infected chair the sisters had used. Within 6 months, both sisters suffered to the point, from the itching, biting, and depression, they had to quit their jobs, and they found no relief from any medical treatment. One lady was cleaning an area in her basement that was infested with mice. She shook out a blanket in which the critters had been in, and within hours began itching. 2 days later, her husband was also itching. This had gone on for 3 months with no medical relief. They are now afraid of giving it to their 2 younger children. Another lady claimed to have been infected by sitting across from an infected person at a business meeting. She claimed that he had lesions all over his face and scalp, and she reported that she saw droplets of spit and tiny bugs flying from his mouth as he spoke. It's that simple. An uninfected person sits in that same chair, wears the clothing, or uses the bedding for about 10 minutes, after which time the itching begins. You can become infected by sitting in a seat on an airplane, a chair in your doctor's office, a co-worker's chair, driving an infected person's car, a barber salon. Within 24 hours, the relentless itching begins, accompanied by biting and stinging sensations that seem to come from under the skin. Doctors generally prescribe Lindane or Elamite. Neither have much impact on these parasites. Short-term relief is usually from hot, nearly scalding baths 2 or 3 times a day. And what's more frightening is that the infected one's household becomes contaminated. All bedding, chairs, flooring, especially rugs, and one's car, even his or her workstation, before it's discovered that the skin parasites are the culprit. Soon after the skin itching and biting, non-healing lesions or sores appear. Fibers or filaments on the skin at various non-healing sites where the parasites reside. You find cotton-like balls on your body and your clothing and bedding. Further down the road are hard nodules under the skin, hair loss, brain fog, can impact your teeth. Fibromyalgia or joint swelling and pain, chronic fatigue, black specks on the skin and bed sheets. And sometimes you'll see the presence of tiny strawberry spots, little red spots just under the skin, like little blood spots. Any 3 or more of these symptoms are associated with Morgellon skin parasites, plus a co-infection of protozoan and or Lyme disease. But Morgellons is just one of several skin parasites that wreak havoc on the skin. Other parasites that cause many of the same or similar symptoms are Columella, springtails, and Strongyloides. It's a nematode, a worm. Unfortunately, there are no recognized diagnostic procedure for Columella or Morgellons. The CDC released the results of their tiny little minuscule research project on Morgellons in 2012. They determined that it's in one's imagination. There is no organic cause for symptoms. Now think back. It took them years to recognize that Lyme disease existed. So, this is par for the course. The bottom line is that most doctors diagnose the problem as stress. Hey, life is getting to you. Too much anxiety. Or worse yet, that you have delusions of parasitosis, folie à deux, folie à trois, or agoraphobia. Add one of those diagnoses to the itching and biting, and you have one really disappointed, unhappy, and depressed patient. Now, Strongyloides, on the other hand, can be identified by a blood antibody test. In fact, there's a laboratory in Tucker, Georgia, Parasitic Disease Consultants, that performs the test. But don't hold your breath. Even if it's diagnosed as Strongyloides, doctors are very unfamiliar with its treatment. On the other hand, they prescribe antibiotics for bacterial infections like candy, but they are totally unfamiliar with the use of dewormers and may not prescribe the correct one or the right dosage. You know, statistics say that 1 out of every 4 people have a parasitic infection, and yet you never see or hear of doctors testing stools, prescribing dewormers. You do better at a veterinarian's office. I contracted the skin parasites in the mid-90s. They were, to say the least, a life-changing event, and I received little help from many, many doctors. But fortunately, after I had suffered for about 2 years, I did discover a dietary connection. That there are foods that feed the skin parasites and foods that starve them, and if I hadn't discovered that, I think I'd be dead today. The goal is to eat the foods that starve them and stay away from the foods that feed them. The diet has kept me symptom-free and healthy. And yes, I've tried everything I could think of or find on the internet. I spent thousands of dollars fighting skin parasites, which at first I thought were only mites. I thought it was the red mite. And then I thought it was some kind of scaly bald-faced mite. Lots of research. I published the diet on the internet as the King Diet in the late 90s, and in 2006 wrote the first book about the subject of skin parasites titled Soothing the Itch Within and the Diet to Control It. The book has just now gone through its 4th revision in 2014, is now titled How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites. Even though suicide was a serious option at one point, I eventually went on to beat the skin parasites and went on living a normal life. My book answers all the important questions. How do you bathe? What skin creams or lotions provide the results without breaking the bank? How do you get skin parasites out of your bedding, your furniture, and your rugs? What medications work? Which ones actually do the job? What doctors in the country help you or can help you? What foods starve the parasites and which foods feed them? Although your doctor has absolutely no answers to these questions, there are real down-to-earth answers to get your life back to normal. With the ABC approach given in my book, you can accomplish in months what it took me years to do. you can have at your fingertips what took me years to discover and research. Every known disinfectant, relative cost and effectiveness. Every known skin cream, cost, effectiveness, and how to make your own economically if you so choose. The impact of Lyme disease and protozoan, where to get reliable lab tests, and the most effective methods of dealing with them. Every alternative therapy, bentonite, clay, rifing, urine therapy, magnets, bee venom therapy, faith healing, and the list goes on. The amazing Nature's Gift debriding soap and how to use it to debride your skin and deep clean your environment to give you pretty much quick instant relief from this itching nightmare. How to get your life back from Morgellons and other skin parasites is guaranteed. I guarantee it to be the most valuable resource in dealing with itchy biting skin parasites, skin fungus, yeast, candida, Lyme, and protozoan, or your money back. Get it today before you infect a coworker or a loved one.